Welcome to It with Felina. I'm Felina. I'm going to talk about Stormy Daniels because right now with all this stuff and all the shootings, and it's kind of like it's a different kind of shooting, you could say, or it's a different kind of gun that was used on her many times by many different men. Probably women too. You know, they have the fake stuff that they use, you know. Anyway.
So he turned around and pulled his pants down a little, you know, he had underwear on and stuff, and I just gave him a couple swats.
Ooh, right, let me tell you, it's nice.
You are special. You remind me of my daughter. You know, he's like, you're smart, beautiful, and a woman to be reckoned with. I like you. You know, don't worry about that. We have separate rooms and stuff.
Did you two go out for dinner that night?
No.
You had dinner in the room?
Yes.
What happened next?
So I excused myself and I went to the restroom.
It's really funny because what's his face? He's got glasses on now. Remember how, what's his name? Anderson Cooper. He didn't used to wear glasses, and now he wears glasses, so he looks really intelligent. And he's sitting there, and he's asking questions, like, you're doing this because you wanted to clear the air and clear. I don't think there's enough Purell in the world and baby wipes to clear anything as far as this goes.
You know, I was in there for a little bit and came out, and he was
big
sitting, you know, on the edge of the bed when I
he's
walked
serious.
out.
Like, look, let me show you her breasts. Sure, they're really big. Look, she's got like really big breasts. Big. And it's like
Perched.
And you had sex with him?
Yes. I remember arriving, and he was watching Shark Week. He made me sit and watch an entire documentary about shark attacks.
It wasn't, at that point, a business meeting. It was just
no,
watching Shark
it
Week.
wasn't a business meeting. It was Shark Week.
Have sex with him again?
No.
Oh, my God. My God. And I hear, this is the best part of all. Now, I didn't realize that this woman was in so many movies, and so many movies that I've missed because when I was 15, I watched porno. You know, on my girlfriend's wall. It was with one of those old kind of cameras, because it was her father's film. It was a Danish porno film. It was like, and I was like really shocked, and I thought that what he was doing was damaging her insides. I didn't realize that that's exactly how we had sex. But anyway, so I'll tell you that I love these names. She's the star of Forrest Bump, Witches of Brestwick, Watching Samantha. I can imagine what Samantha's doing. I've seen some magazines, you know, dirty magazines, that had some girls doing some like Two Torrid Twats is one of the things it was called, Two Torrid Twats. And anyway, Secrets of the Velvet Ring. I know what that means. Porking with Pride 2. Now, I don't know why she wasn't in Porking with Pride 1. You know, does that make you wonder? It's like, usually when you're in a sequel, it means that sometimes the star is in, like, the star would be in Porking with Pride, right? And they can't get the star. So they get them in Porking with Pride 2. You know, they get the runner-up, you know. It's like when Spider-Man was remade, and then, you know, Kirsten Dunst, she didn't want to be in it. Then Tobey Maguire didn't want to be in it. And then they had to change the whole cast. So I don't know if that means, I don't know if she was kind of like maybe not in her prime anymore when she did Porking with Pride too. But it is Porking with Pride. Dripping Wet Sex 2. You see, there again. She wasn't in Dripping Wet Sex 1. It's like if you've seen Dripping Wet Sex 1, you want to get the best porn stars. And so are the best stars if it's like a regular movie. But she's in Dripping Wet Sex 2. It's like, I mean, it must have been a good movie for them to make a sequel. But still, she's like, it just looks to me like this woman is really, you know, she's an aging porn star. She probably wasn't that famous to begin with. So now she's aging, and so she's got to grab at the velvet ring, so to speak, or some kind of ring. And she has to take what she can get, and so she's trying to get as much money as she possibly can. I mean, it's like she's literally, excuse the term, milking this for all it's worth. I'm not using it in the porn term, milking in the porn term. I know what you did last night. It's like, it's like the Busted Beauties 2. There you go. That's the third 2. See, this tells me, I'm analyzing this, and this tells me that this woman was not a first-rated porn star. I mean, she did make a movie with Ron Jeremy. But Ron Jeremy is really, really old. He's been doing it since the 70s. The 70s? And I don't know if he was that good looking when he was young. I never saw him when he was young. But I do understand what his dimensions were. He's well endowed. But, you see, she made a movie. What was the movie she made with him? Loose on Atlantic City. So that's like at the end of his career. She's like the 3 trillionth woman that he's, you know, porked. So let's just use the word porked because it's not a dirty word. And then there's Busted Beauties 2. I mean, don't you, if you want to see Busted Beauties, don't you want to see Busted Beauties 1? Don't you want to see the best Busted Beauties, the best bus, you know? And they're going to be in Busted Beauties 1. They're not going to be in Busted Beauties 2. I mean, this is like, I've seen better ones. It's like, I mean, there's more here, and they're all fake. But I say, what's a girl gotta do? Well, I don't know. What's a girl gotta do to make a lot of money? Or what's a girl gotta do? Apparently, she likes doing this. And she's, you know, likes to do this a lot. Well, apparently she wanted to, and you probably already know this, that she wanted to, she went to his golf course. She met up with him. She wanted to get on The Apprentice, which, you see, here's the thing. She wasn't famous enough to be on there as a star, okay? And then there's real people, or supposed real people. Everything is scripted. Nobody's real on a reality show. So she can't come off as a regular person. She has to come off as a star. And she's an aging porn star. Isn't it like he had Ron Jeremy on there? And who is the one behind the green door? Wasn't she the Ivory Snow baby? And then she grew up to be a porn star, which everybody thought was really funny. She was the Ivory Snow baby. She grew up to be a porn star. But didn't she die? I don't know if there's any, I don't know who the porn stars are. And basically, and you know, just because you're in porn doesn't really make you a star. You're just in porn. You know what I mean? And the only person who really was a star was Ron Jeremy, because he had something that you couldn't enhance. You know, it's like a porn star, or people in porn, or models, everything, they enhance their bodies, and it's all plastic. And Trump loves plastic. I mean, he loves enhanced women. He really loves his women. And he loves grown women. So that's something that they can never get him on is anything else. And this is totally consensual. She admitted it was consensual. This is not a Me Too movement. She admitted that she wanted to do this to get on TV, to make lots of money. She'd have made a lot of money on The Apprentice. She's admitted this. So, but you see, Ron Jeremy is special because he had something that God gave him. And it was something that could not be enhanced. And it doesn't really matter what he looked like, because guys don't watch pornos for what the guys look like. You know, they want to see big busted women. And basically, with plastic surgery, you could make beautiful women with big breasts. Everything could be fake. And that's what they want to see. They want to pretend that they're all virgins, or some are virgins, you know, and some they like as whores. But you see, guys, they're not looking at the face, but they want to see, ooh, you know, how the woman reacts to that huge endowment that's essentially is a gift from God. So technically, the only porn star really is Ron Jeremy. And she did star with him. She did. Loose on Atlantic City. You know, it's like Atlantic City is kind of like isn't even like Loose on Vegas. Like Atlantic City is like one of those, like, it's like the second rate. That's like, you know, part 2 of a movie. You know, it's like it's a second rate gambling place to go gambling. And, you know, he said, no, we knew he wasn't a squeaky clean. And he said that he had his own personal Vietnam, was avoiding STDs in the 70s, which is really interesting because he's a germaphobe. So why would he sleep with porn stars? Why would he get near loose women? Why wouldn't he just get around nice women and wear protection? Maybe, well, she said it wasn't. Why would you do that with a porn star, unprotected? I mean, there's a, like, and be a germaphobe. But for me, there isn't enough bleach or Purell in the world for me to do that kind of stuff. There just isn't, you know, or rubber suits. And you know what's really funny? Here's a little something on the side, because we're talking about Trump here. Little note on the side. And this is verified by Peter Guralnick, Elvis's biography. I love Elvis. And you think that, of course, Elvis had a lot of women. Elvis had a lot of women. Think he had a lot of sex. Well, Elvis was actually paranoid about getting STDs. Speaking about STDs, he was paranoid about getting STDs. So he really didn't sleep around. The only thing he really liked to do is suck on toes. And he had the guys look at the girls' toes to make sure the feet were really clean and really manicured and smelled really nice. Otherwise, he wouldn't suck on the toes. Girl tried to, she was sitting on the couch with him, they're watching, because Elvis really just liked to sit, eat, and watch TV with women. They say, oh, he was with young women. He just sat all night because the mother wanted him to be with a virgin. So she said, you young women are virgins. The only thing he wanted to do was sit and watch TV and eat. And he didn't marry Priscilla till she was 21 and didn't have sex with her until the wedding night. He didn't want to. He was actually a pretty good guy. And some girl got really angry at him because she made a pass at him. She threw a drink in his face, and so he threw her out of Graceland. But he didn't sleep around. It's a shocker, but it's like totally true. And I say that he didn't have a gay experience. That's absolutely untrue. There's no validity. But what did happen in Germany, there was a gay guy. Of course, Elvis was beautiful. There was a gay guy, I think he might have been a doctor, that knew about all his parties that he had in Germany, which would have ruined his reputation back in the States. We're talking about stars. This is a fun show today. So it's a little Elvis, a little Trump, and there's going to be a little more about Trump and a little bit more about Stormy Daniels. But the story about that is that he knew that he wanted Elvis to sleep with him, of course. And Elvis refused. And so he said he was going to lie about him, and he was basically going to say all the dirt about him and all the parties that he had when he was stationed in Germany, when he was in the army. And so they paid him off to shut him up. But Elvis liked to be around women. He needed a woman around because he needed his mother around. His mother died when he was in the army. But anyway, that's enough about Elvis. But that's an interesting thing that I bet you didn't know about Elvis. Let's see. So she said, which I kind of don't believe at all, that in 2011, she spoke to In Touch magazine about the affair. That when she was paid $15,000 for it, which I understand is a very low amount. That some guy approached her in the parking lot that said it was a pity if something happened to her. Well, she already gave the interview. This story is really, really old. If you voted for Trump and you didn't know about this story, or if you didn't know about his history, you haven't been following Trump since the 19th. I mean, he's been his entire life. Every woman he's ever had has been on the cover of every single magazine. He's been everything that he's ever done. All of a sudden, he's a racist because he ran against Hillary Clinton. All of a sudden, he's bad. We all knew about this. This wasn't anything new. And her, in 2011, she gets approached in 2011. Like he's going to care. And this porn star says that she slept. Pretty much that's all you have to say is a porn star says that wants money, says that she slept with me, and I'm a really big famous guy, and she wants to be on my TV show. So she said that. In fact, it would have been the easiest thing. It would have been, personally, I mean, it's like that would have been the easiest thing. I don't believe that at all. I think she's trying to make this more because she wants as much money and she wants as much, but she's getting tons and tons of interviews and jobs because of this. See, she's an aging porn star. Who wasn't really a porn star, like a star, two, three times. Okay, well, I'm sure she did two more than three times, but this is her way to make more money than she's ever made in her entire life. See, some people say I'm doing this for the money. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of job offers now. She said it was a business deal. So the $130,000 was her pay. Remember I said something about being in Hollywood, and it's kind of like this Me Too movement, that these girls slept with these directors to get parts. So how much of a Me Too movement is that? What it is I've already said this before, that they should have just said no, and we're going to put together our own studio. And interesting, not long after, about a month after I said that, some woman said she's going to buy the Weinstein studio and make it into a woman's studio. I said, make your own studio and call it Goddess Pictures. I said that a month before this happened. These women, they sold themselves out. They sold their bodies. The actresses basically sold their bodies the same way to get parts. They didn't have to do it. It wasn't like if they were raped, if it was outright rape, sexual assault. Tons of women have been assaulted and raped. Tons of women. Happens all the time. Real Me Too stories. Real stories. But it's like Hollywood and this woman, they just want to get more and more attention. And the reason why that she voted for Trump, because he's the only one who could have won against Hillary Clinton. He was a guy who had to work with the mafia to build all those buildings, to build gambling casinos. He had to grease the palms of politicians by giving them donations. The Democrats, because they're the ones who run the show in New York City. Like Schumer. Schumer loved taking his money, but now he's calling him a racist. Pelosi loved taking his money, but now she's calling him a racist. Hypocrites all. But you had got to do that. So he played the game. He's extremely powerful, even if he just believes that he is. He's a tough guy. He's tough as nails. Yeah, he had a bimbo on his arm, but his 3 wives that bore his children were all good mothers. They raised beautiful, well-disciplined children. And Melania, she's a lady. So what that she appeared naked? So what? So did Marilyn. And wouldn't it be awful if the world was without that gorgeous picture of her lying on velvet? But she's a lady, and she's a good mother, and she dedicates her life to her son. But you needed Trump because when we found out, the more we find out about the shenanigans, about the ballot stuffings, the fake dossier, that Hillary and Obama and the Podestas, they worked with Putin. Putin gave Hillary $150 million so he can get 20% of our uranium supply, which is, we only have so much, and they use that to build nuclear weapons. So this guy that is so bad and so evil that Obama found out that he was hacking, the Russians were hacking things in 2014 and to watch out for the election. He sat out and did nothing. Why? Putin was his friend. We know that. We heard him on the hot mic talking to the president of Russia. You tell Putin in my second term that I can do that for him. Who's the friend to Putin? Who's the friend to Putin? The more we dig, the more Democrats that we find. Not Trump. Not Trump at all. But you needed Trump because there was the Democrat machine. And they rigged it against Hillary in 2008 because they needed Obama elected. Then they rigged it against Bernie because they promised her that she would be elected. If you take a fall in 2008, we will make sure you're elected in 2016. So they made Bernie take the fall. It's a big machine. It's a big machine. It's bigger than we are. It's much more powerful than we are. And he had to fight this machine. How could you go against us, the Republicans said? Well, he's not a Republican. He gives money to Democrats. Democrats, how could you do this? You were a Democrat. You gave us money. You know Hillary's supposed to get elected. No. You know, as dirty as you might think he is, he's as tough as nails. And he's the only one that could have won against Hillary Clinton. With all the ballot stuffing that we found out, and the amount of voters in California who are not citizens that vote, we're finding out more and more. 100,000 in Pennsylvania, we just found out. And then in Virginia, McAuliffe changed the voting system where the felons could vote. 200,000 felons could vote. Gave them their rights back. And Hillary won by 200,000 votes. But there are 8 million immigrants in Virginia, and he made it so you didn't have to check the box. You didn't have to check the box. Say that you were a citizen. Trump had to overcome. You needed somebody. You see, Cruz, he was very smart. He could have never won against Hillary. He wasn't likable enough. You needed somebody who was, yes, a celebrity, was powerful, and was a guy that could talk to the people. Trump is a guy that not only did he get an award for hiring the most minorities from Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, which he did. He wasn't a racist then. He also hired the first female foreman on a construction job. More women than anyone else. Guys at the top, the guys who own the buildings, and they tell people to work under them, they don't go down and talk to the guys who are working on the building. He goes down there and talks directly to the guys who are working. And he talks in a language that they can understand. It isn't that he's stupid. It's a New York way of talking, and it's a businessman's way of talking. When you talk to get the job done, you communicate directly to the people. And he wasn't so high and mighty. He wasn't so elitist. Like when that hurricane happened, he went down and he helped the people giving out food. Obama and Hillary, I remember, were on the vineyard in Nantucket, and they were making money, at benefit dinners, getting campaign donations, and he was doing the work. Him and Pence. He's a guy that is not really like. Some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but this guy he was born with iron in his mouth. And he's a guy who gets down right into the dirt and does the work. He's a guy 2 hours before his secretary comes in, he answers the phones. When a busboy doesn't show up at Mar-a-Lago, he gets on the uniform and he does the job. This is the kind of guy you elected. You didn't elect an elitist. You elected the right guy. You elected the only guy that could work with the mafia. The only way you could win against Hillary Clinton is if you can work with the mafia and you can work with these dirty politicians who turned against him. Gotta call him a racist. We called Reagan a racist, KKK member, a Nazi. We called Bush Sr., we called Bush Jr., we called Monty Cliff there, Romney. We called him a Nazi. That's their MO. They're all racist. They're all Nazis, even though they actually had the Grand Dragon as the head of the Democratic Party, the conscience of the Senate, Robert Byrd, Grand Dragon of the KKK, and they're calling these Republicans racists. And the people bought it. You needed a guy like Trump, somebody who could fight back harder than he is hit. Because you know where his heart is. His heart is with America. His heart has always been with the people. I remember an interview they did with him. He's just walking down the street. Guys in a garbage truck drive by. Something that couldn't have been set up. And they're hanging off the truck. It was an interview a long time ago. And they yell out, they say, "Hey, Trump," and he waves back at them. Who would do? Hillary Clinton? Would Hillary Clinton do that? Do you know that every morning he goes to the bank and gets a roll of $100 bills and he just gives them out to people as a tip? Like if he sees somebody doing a good job, here's $100. That's a man of the people. That's a guy who knows that these people are working hard and they deserve that extra buck. He's the only guy who could have fought against this machine and won. Cruz couldn't have done it. None of the rest could have done it. That's why he had to knock them all out. In fact, he's the only one who knew. Nobody got it. Everybody wants to be president, but nobody got it. Hillary Clinton was in the bag. He knew Hillary Clinton was in the bag. He knew Bernie didn't have a chance. He knew the 2008 election was fixed for Obama. He knew they promised the 2016 election to Hillary. He knew this, and he knew it isn't like he had anything against any of these guys. He had to knock them out because he knew the only way America was going to survive was if he was going to win. He was the only one that could have won. And I bet he won by a supermajority. Don't even count California for that one. And we've already found out in the recounts that he was getting more votes. 50 votes in the box, and the box says there's 3,000 votes for Hillary. It's only 50 votes in there. They were stuffing the ballots. They were putting the ballots through several times. There was so much shenanigans going on, and there's so much that we have yet to find out. He's the only one, and he's throwing Russia out of the country. Russia did that point. That's pretty bad, and he's the only one laying down the law. He's the only one kicking the arse of ISIS. He's the only one who wants to do anything about it. And those Parkland school kids who want the shootings to stop, we need to catch these guys before especially when they show signs that they're going to do it. We need to stop them. But when Trump sees these terrorist attacks around the world and says, you lay down the law, kids are doing something, they're eaten too many cookies, and the parents said, no more cookies for 6 months. And the law fast. And he said, we're going to have to step back and think about how we're going to handle this. Ban's not going to be forever, but you lay down the law fast. It isn't a Muslim ban, that there are people within the Muslim community that are killing people around the world. Where are the marches in those countries? Nobody's marching in those countries. And they should be, shouldn't they? But you can't because you'll be called an Islamophobe. Stop the tax. We don't need our children, like on Bastille, our children, the Ariana Grande concert, our children are lying bloody on the ground. Nobody can march in those countries. Nobody can say anything in those countries. There's no freedom of speech. They're shut up immediately and they're called racist instead of saying, what can we do to stop this? What can we do to save the Muslims, these other Muslims who don't want to get killed because Muslims kill other Muslims of different sex, right? What do we do to stop this? That problem will never get solved because nobody is standing up to say stop, except for Trump. Somebody in these countries needs to stand up and say stop. But America acts like we're the only ones. We're the only ones. And we don't know history since the dawn of time. Do you know how many deaths, how many people have been sacrificed and killed in so many ways by so many people? We're not the only ones. There are people suffering around the world who can't say a thing for fear for being called a name. The only one is Trump, and we're lucky we have him because he's the only one that would have won this election against Hillary. She didn't want any borders. She wanted a borderless world. And look at what we've got with the drugs coming in And the drug cartel's making $69 billion off of us, and we're dying every day in this country. It's not racism. We just don't want the people to bring in the drugs, and the people who are killing other people, we don't want that to happen. We don't care what country they come from. We want that to end. And that's all. So, signing out. One little kiss. Continue this fight for freedom. And everything here is natural. From Felina. Goodbye.